This is your captain speaking. If you guys could, like, sit still and not smoke. I don't know what a captain says, for God's sake. I haven't been on a plane in decades. Anyways, my name's Xavier, and welcome to a channel update, where we're going to talk about why we abandoned the old channel, how the new one is statistically doing better than literally anyone I've ever seen on all of YouTube, and simultaneously, how it is catastrophically failing in immeasurable and unthinkable ways. We'll talk about YouTube's suppression, actual statistics, and potentially quitting YouTube forever. Huzzah! So I figured a good way to deliver this channel update would be to a backdrop of Microsoft Flight Simulator. So for those of you who don't know, I live in Flagstaff, Arizona, and whenever anyone comes to visit, there's a few things we pretty much always do with them. One, we go down to Sedona, and we go through the switchbacks, which are pretty interesting, kind of scary, driving on the side of a cliff down into the Red Rock Canyons that you're seeing right here. Also, we typically go out to the Grand Canyon, which I've been to probably 24 times by now. And lastly, occasionally we go out east a little bit, about an hour, to check out Meteor Crater, which sounds a lot cooler than it is. It's just a crater in the middle of the desert made by a meteor, but we'll see that a little bit later. I thought it would be kind of cool to bring you guys, like, you know, you were coming to visit, and I'll show you around some of the sites sort of near where I live. Speaking of, I actually live right down over there on the right. Yeah, right in the front of the plane right there for like 3 weeks at one point. It was ridiculously hot in Sedona. But anyways, let's first talk about the old channel. So we abandoned the old channel because it just wasn't growing. Like, our statistics were growing because we kept getting better and better, and that's what happens when you have two people working 3 full-time jobs at trying to make better videos. They actually get better over time, which we did. And that was reflected in our statistics. We were getting way higher like-to-view ratio, way higher comment-to-view ratio, we were getting way higher watch time, way higher click-through rates. Everything was improving, except we just weren't growing. Like, it was the same growth for 2 straight years, regardless of whatever we did. Nothing grew the channel. So we figured, all right, let's abandon the old channel, we'll make a new one, we'll only tell really hardcore dedicated fans about it, and then we'll have statistics that are insanely good. And that will lead to exponential growth that can finally increase our income levels to minimum wage, hopefully. So did that actually... Ooh. So here's a sightseeing bridge we always stop at, and everyone looks around for some reason. Here's what it looks like from the ground. Anyways, so how's the new channel doing? Statistically, it's ridiculous. It's even hard to describe it. It's so ridiculous. Like, a normal gaming video on YouTube will have like 5% like-to-view ratio, maybe. It could go down to like 1%, maybe it's a little bit higher if it's a really well-known guy who started a new series. Ours is 25% on this channel. It's... Some videos are 35. 2 of them have actually been 40%. 40% for the first couple of days. The comment-to-view ratio is like 10 times higher than normal. Click-through ratio is 3 times higher than it used to be. And watch time has also improved by like 20 or 25% versus the old channel. So insanely good. But what's the result of all of these ridiculously high jumps in statistics? And the answer is literally nothing. It is exactly, and I mean exactly, the same growth as we were getting before on the old channel. So my conclusion here is that YouTube has been heavily suppressing my entire account since December of 2018, because this same pattern I've been seeing with all of the old videos we've been making on the last channel, all of the ones on the new channel, and also on my real life channel, they all match identically. We'll pause the flight for a second so I can show you what this looks like. This past weekend, both Barky and myself put out a RimWorld video, within an hour of each other. Our like-to-view ratio was 41%. His was 10.5. Our comment-to-view ratio was 7.7. His was 3.3. Our watch time was a frigging ridiculous 28 full minutes. His was 4.5. He was kind enough to share this with me. Our click-through rate was 14.8. His was 14.3. Basically the same, but ours was slightly ahead. So based on these statistics, where would you think YouTube would rank each one of these videos when someone searches for RimWorld? They ranked our video within the first hour 62nd. They ranked his video 2nd. And it gets worse, because after an hour and a half, our video was all the way down to 580. Now, this isn't to say Barky has bad stats. No, they're actually very, very, very good. He deserves that number 2 spot for like the whole day that he held it before dropping 10 slots. However, we don't deserve to be 62nd, dropping to 580th after an hour and a half. That means the only way anyone can find us with search is to search within the first 20 minutes of the video coming out and scrolling down 60 videos and then clicking on us. Other than that, no one can find us with search, which is why our growth has been so slow. And this has been the case for every series I've tracked since December 2018, including our recent Battle Brothers series, which I was expecting that to be a colossal success. And statistically, it blew our old series out of the water. It had like 3 times the likes, 4 times the comments. It had literally double the watch time and 50% more click-through rate. And yet, YouTube gave it 3% of the impressions of our prior series. Here's a quick chart showing our new series on the top and our old series on the bottom. The blue line's all you need to look at. Note how on the top, after 2 days, YouTube just flatlines the whole series. It's dead. It's literally dead. Now, it's important to note, if you guys are new here or you're not familiar with the history of my old channel, between middle of 2017 and the end of 2018, we dominated the RimWorld search term. I mean, if you search for RimWorld during that time period, we had like the top 7 out of 10 search results. It was insane. Oh, here's the switchback. It doesn't look scary at all flying, but when you're driving in this, it is so ridiculous. Like that over there is Flagstaff. That's the mountains up top. And right below, it's like you got to go around. You got to weasel your way. You come up, you come over, you come back. This doesn't do it justice because it's so high and it's so like just precipitous. It feels like you're literally like a roller coaster, like you're gonna fall off the cliff any second. I'll throw a image on the screen right now. I just wanted to show you guys this, and that's the view you see as you come in. Anywho, we'll fly up to the peaks here in a minute and take a look at where Pluto was discovered, the observatory where Pluto was discovered from the air. In any event, so this makes a lot of sense in terms of understanding why all the things I expected to perform well didn't perform well. For one more example, when I did XCOM 2 Star Wars, I researched, and there was someone else doing XCOM 2 Star Wars. He had 20 to 30,000 views on every single video. He had over 100,000 on his series opener. And he lost the game on normal. He was so bad. 0 editing. 0. He had to restart on easy. If he can get that many views, surely me, who has 700 videos on XCOM 2, who is a veritable master of the game, essentially, surely I can get more than he can get, or at least close to what he gets. We didn't even get 10% of what he got. I put the series out, and within a week, actually within 2 to 3 days, dead. And now I finally understand why. For years, we have been making videos for our own tiny, small audience, and YouTube hasn't shared it with a larger audience. Now, there has been a small trickle here and there in some search results. It's not like we're completely impossible to find. Like, for example, our RimWorld 500 video is finally getting suggested to some people every day. But it took so much to get there. Like, you can't put out a video that gets 28 minutes of watch time with a 41% like-to-view ratio for the first 2,000 views. It's just, that's not normal. No one else has to do that to grow. Speaking of growth, I think this is a good time for me to explain how growth works on YouTube. Let me just quickly show you Ambiguous Amphibians and also Pete Complete's Social Blade. You'll note that both of them had several months where they gained 10, 12, even 32,000 subscribers in a single month, thanks to YouTube suggested and YouTube search results. I remember what that was like, because that's basically what happened to me in 2017 and 2018, with much, 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 much worse content. And we put so much effort into our content since then. It's so much better. And now it's... So I'm sure the number one question everyone's going to ask is, why is YouTube doing this? It's always the first thing. But that question is irrelevant. I have some theories, but they're just that. They're theories, and it doesn't matter why they're doing it. All that matters is what we're going to do about it. And what we're going to do about it requires some context. So 4 years ago, before I really decided to get into YouTube, I used to flip houses. And I generated well over 6 figures really easily. And then when I got into YouTube, at first it was just for the fun of showing off Long War II. And then it very quickly grew. A lot. Very quickly. That's why I'm making this whole video. It grew. And I'm like, oh, I want to do this. I can make this a real thing. So I decided to give up that 6-figure income for what is currently not even a 5-figure income, an actual 4-figure income. Oh, speaking of 4-figure income, we're coming up. Oh no, the video's all corrupted. Anyway, this is the Lowell Observatory. This is where Pluto was discovered by this guy named Clyde Tombaugh or something like that. I forget his exact name. Anyway, if you go there, they give really cool tours and they give you the details that you don't find online or on Wikipedia. He apparently wrote some letters. He's like, "Sirs, I don't want to stare at telescopes. I'll even do it for free, please." And I guess they let him, and then many years later, he found Pluto. I mean, they tell the story better if you go there. If you ever visit Flagstaff, you should go take the tour because it's actually really interesting. Bloody hell, this is super corrupted. Anyways, we'll fly up to the peaks here and fix this in a second. Fixed! All right. Now, one thing to point out, on that hill on the left there's a trail, on the right side of that hill you see. It's called Fat Man's Loop. And I've always wondered about that trail. Did they call it that because the fat man can't climb it? Or that the fat man should climb it to stop being a fat man? What is the name of it? Who named it Fat Man's Loop? It's fascinating. In any event, my point from before was essentially, I can't keep doing this. A 4-figure income for 3.5 years is ridiculous. And on top of that, Bravo Wolf quit his job 6 months ago to edit full-time so that we would hopefully improve very quickly and then eventually grow to at least a minimum wage level. So I've been covering a lot of his lion's share of income from what little we've been getting. And there's just no growth. There needs to be growth because essentially I am literally just wasting my life right now. That's what I'm doing. I'm chasing a dream of one day waking up and entertaining people. And then that's it. My ideal day is wake up, read comments of people being like, "This was awesome. I'm happy now." And then I'm like, "Awesome. I'm going to go make more things that make you more happy." That's what I actually enjoy doing. By the way, we're heading out to the Grand Canyon now at super speed. So this might be very, very, very laggy. You can already see it there on the screen. That's how close it is. But the point here is I've been working just all the time, all the freaking time trying to make this a reality, making no money, and it's got to stop. It's got to stop immediately. So how are we going to fix it? And the plan is as such. I cut here so you guys can behold the Grand Canyon in all of its spectacle as we come up to it from a very low altitude. It's the scale of it's really ridiculous if you've never seen it before in real life, so I'll try to give you the best possible experience. In any event, if YouTube's not going to share our content with the widest possible audience, then we have one option, which is to buy ads to force it to happen unnaturally and at a very high cost. I'm not sure what the cost is going to be yet because I still have to research this, but we're currently losing thousands of dollars worth of free advertising from YouTube suggested in every video. Yeah, here we go. This is the small side of the Grand Canyon, by the way. There's a little tower down here on the right that the auto generation did not pick up as a tower. Yeah, right there in the very, very, very bottom right, there's a little tiny circular building. It'd be like a 100-foot tower that you can climb up. I'll throw a picture of it on the screen right now. It's really cool. So by buying ads and getting people into the system, they will be recommended our content once they've already seen it. It's only people who haven't seen it that aren't recommended it at all. I don't know how much we'll spend on it. I mean, it's not like we have any income to spend on it anyway, but I'll spend some, $1,000 or so, a month's income, and see how that works out. Maybe it'll do something, maybe it won't. I don't know. It might jumpstart things. We'll have to see. That's plan number 1. Plan number 2 is to hire an editor so we can start cranking out hopefully 7 videos a week, which is insane for the quality of our content. When Bravo Wolf comes back from vacation next Monday, I think we'll be up to 3 videos a week pretty easily, but I want 7. So we're going to test out some different editors online and see if we can find someone who can take half of his workload off, do it so he can basically double do what he does now. Basically, I think we can make 7 videos per week, except I'll be working twice as much for the same level of income, and I'll be paying an editor and paying for ads. This is a great frigging deal, I'll tell you what. And the last thing is to make it really, really, really clear to all of you. My goal with this new channel was to hit 1,000 patrons. That represents minimum wage for the time that we spend. Right now we're making 1/3 of minimum wage, and that's the highest it's ever been. So to that end, I enabled channel memberships on this channel just the other day. They completely mirror the Patreon tiers. So if you hate Patreon or you just don't want to use it or you can't use it because of your country, well, now there's an alternative on YouTube that has all the same rewards, and you get a little fancy badge next to your name and in the comment section. So check out one of those things if you guys are interested. Also keep in mind that liking the videos helps out a huge amount. If 40% of you like a video and 8% of you leave comments and everyone watches it for 30 minutes, YouTube will actually recommend our video to a few hundred, possibly even 1,000 people. So thank you guys very much for all the support on the 500. I was completely, so unbelievably miserable from the results of the Battle Brothers and also the beginning of this channel that I thought we were completely done forever. And then I put out that I somehow mustered the energy to put together that 500 ice sheet challenge. And for the first time in a very long time, there's a micro amount of suggestions, which is cool. There's something. We need a lot more than that, but there's at least something. So thanks for all the support and liking the video. It's very much appreciated. Oh, and the final thing that we're going to do is actually set a deadline. Like, I have been just doing this for 3.5 years now, nonstop, over and over and over, and it's really stupid. So the deadline's October 31st. If we can't finally get this to a minimum wage level job for like the 3 frigging people who will be working on it by that time, well, then we'll have to quit. Hopefully we won't, though, because I really don't want to. Anyways, to wrap things up, I think we're going to take a cut out here. This is about an hour east of Flagstaff, and it's the Meteor Crater. Just a giant open desert. A meteor fell, and now there's a crater. it's something to see anyway. I feel kind of bad for this poor crater because it's like an hour away from the Grand Canyon. So a huge hole in the ground is typically going to be pretty cool. Like, you can see the scale of it here. It's pretty big. But it's like an hour away from the Grand Canyon. So who cares? There's much bigger holes nearby. I like how this whole video has been me flying around bottomless, huge holes, talking about YouTube. What is one to infer from this, I wonder? Oh my god. Anyways, when Bravo Wolf gets back from vacation on Monday, we will crank out as much content as is humanly possible for 2 months, and hopefully, by the grace of God, we shall prevail. What movie is that from? Anyways, that's it for this. There's a big hole in the ground. Dun dun dun. YouTube.